Hello viewers, let's begin. Gino Jennings, known for his firebrand style of preaching, the uncompromising stand, the large following and equally large critics. For decades he stood in the pulpit and declared what marriage should mean, what loyalty should mean, what authority should mean. Then out of nowhere his wife steps forward, filing for divorce and publicly confirming what so many whispered. We're talking about allegations of hidden finances, control behind the scenes, and a faith leader whose own home might reflect the very things he condemned. Now the question is, will he survive this moment of exposure? Stay with me, the next few minutes are going to reveal layers you didn't expect. Think of a couple married for years, walking into the same church every Sunday, the husband behind the pulpit, the wife sitting in the pew or maybe just beside him, smiling, supporting. That was the scene for Gino and his wife, until the facade cracked. According to multiple reports, his wife, named in some sources as Darlene Jennings, filed for divorce in early 2025, in a move that caught many off guard. She's not just asking for separation, she's bringing forward serious claims about the ministry's finances, accusations of control and manipulation, and questions about how someone preaching authority could be living a very different reality. What does that say? That the man who told thousands this is how it should be might have had a secret playbook behind closed doors. Here's where it gets deeper. Gino's sermons often emphasized submission, loyalty, traditional roles, and the sanctity of marriage. Now his own marriage is failing, and the very teaching is being questioned in real time. The wife claims she sat by quietly for years, supporting, being faithful, enduring things she wasn't comfortable with. Then something changed. She reportedly discovered financial irregularities, excessive spending that didn't fit the image. Transactions moving money from charitable giving into private pockets, unexplained withdrawals linked to properties not registered to the ministry. She said she began to fear speaking out, that dissent was treated as betrayal. That in the church, questioning authority was dangerous. Former insiders reportedly corroborate. New testimonies claim there were hush funds, intimidation, warnings, and retaliations. Here's a contrast for you. On one hand, a man telling his congregation the word of God must govern your life, your church funds must be transparent, your marriage unbreakable. On the other hand, a church where the leader allegedly guards the books, silences critics, hides assets, watches insider exodus quietly. It's a classic story of power being exercised in the shadows. And when enough people start whispering, the shadows start looking very bright. The wife's divorce filing wasn't just personal, it became a public moment that cracked the veneer of infallibility. The ministry, the followers, the critics all began to pay attention, but hold on, until now, these are allegations, rumors, whispers. What happens when the man himself speaks up? What happens when the leader who never backed down is forced to fight back? Because the next part of this is where the scene flips. When he finally did respond, Gino didn't offer calm explanation. He launched into a sermon about Jezebel spirits, rebellious women, and the enemy attacking God's anointed. He framed his wife's move as spiritual warfare. He accused the truth-bearers of being the deceived, used, manipulated. People in the congregation sat on their seats. Some applauded. Others, especially those who had begun asking questions, felt uneasy. If you're a leader who preaches transparency yet refuses to open the books when asked, the tension builds. Here's a statistic-type fact. While I couldn't locate an official forensic audit, one former insider claimed. There were accounts that nobody else had access to except Gino and a select few. And in church scandals historically, secret lists of financial irregularities often lead to the unraveling of entire movements. Now imagine, thousands of followers, giving tithes, believing every word, trusting the man behind the pulpit. And a married couple whose private fallout is now shining a spotlight on all of it. This story isn't just about divorce. It's about what happens when public faith and private power collide. It's about credibility, morals, accountability. When the spiritual leader collapses under scrutiny, followers face anguish, critics gain ammunition, truth seekers get uneasy. The wife's move forces a reckoning. If the man who preached so strongly can't hold his own house together, what does that say to the flock? And let me point out something. By stepping out, His wife didn't just walk away, she became the catalyst for an investigation into ethics, finances, and leadership style. The ripple effect? Firm foundations tremble. Loyalties shift. Some will leave, some will fight the narrative, some will stay but quietly question. So, where do we leave things? At 61 years old, Gino Jennings finds himself at a crossroads. His wife filed for divorce, allegations floated, accusations made, sermons delivered. The question now, will he rebuild? Will he reform? Or will this become the moment his ministry's public aura shifts into a more vulnerable, more human one? The fallout will likely play out far beyond the marriage itself. Now here's your call to action, one you won't forget. Think about the leaders you trust. Think about the institutions you follow. Ask yourself, how well do you really know the person behind the message? And if just one person in a position of faith can be revealed to harbor secrets, what does that mean for the system at large? If you're willing to hold leaders to higher standards, even when it's uncomfortable, then stay tuned, follow the evidence, ask the tough questions, and engage. Because stories like this aren't just gossip, they are turning points. And you won't want to miss the next chapter.